It's not letting me. Oh. Hey, coaches, Coach Eric here, coachestrainingroom.com. Thanks for joining us live. We got live Mondays with Coach Mark. Thanks so much for joining us again. Coach Mark is here from England, and I'm here in the U.S. We are so excited. Last time we had our first live with Coach Mark. It really went well, so we're here again. Excited to be here with you, coaches. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're all set up here, and feel free to post in the comments where you're from. And as we go along here, if there's any questions, you might have saw some of the posts that we were doing ahead of time, so you can get your questions ready for us. So if you already have your question set, go ahead and put it in the comments, as we're gonna go ahead and move forward here pretty soon with Coach Mark and in the quick training ahead. And then we'll see your comment and questions come in and pop in the comment section. So thank you so much, and we look forward to your questions. And we might not get to all of them during our time here, because again, we're just trying to keep this short and sweet and to the point. And we're going to get to your questions if we can cover it during the session. If not, we'll get to it at a future session or through email or message. All right, how you doing, Coach Mark? You good?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. It's getting nice and cold here now, so just getting down to about freezing tonight. So, but I believe that's pretty mild compared to you right now. I saw some pictures. You were covered in snow last I saw.
Oh yeah, we've been getting lots of snow here in Michigan. Those of you in Michigan, I know that. Well, it's actually been it's so crazy here in Michigan how it'll snow and then the next day it'll be like 50 degrees and then it'll just melt and we'll have floods, or it'll like be between a rain and a sleet, and it's just crazy. But it's been melting like no other right now. But yeah, we had a ton of snow, and then next day it'll rain. But anyways, that's Michigan for you. But
right.
But yeah, so to kind of get into the topic, because again, we don't have too much time, but we want to welcome coaches on. Let me just make sure we're live here on the page. Awesome. We got 33 coaches on so far. Excellent, excellent. Tell us where you're from and what age group you coach. We'd love to hear that, and any questions you have as we go through here. And we'd love to see some likes, some comments. If you tap that on mobile device, you'll show us that you are here. So that's awesome. That's excellent. So here we go. Let's go ahead and move forward. Again, we're going to try to keep this short and sweet, and we'll try to keep it to about 5:30. So we're trying to keep these bite-sized trainings to about half an hour. So again, my name's Coach Eric. Welcome, welcome, coaches. I am a player as well as a coach. I've been playing since I was 4 years old. Fell in love with the game. It's my favorite sport ever since. And as I got older, I loved it so much that now I coach and I train individual small groups. I really got into it. And competitively, I got first team All-State in high school, and then I moved on to play at Michigan State. So it's been a love of my life, and now I get to pass it on to other players as well, and training them the techniques, strategies of soccer. I love it. Sometimes I can't stop when I'm in a session. I'm like, it's such a passion. So, and same thing with coaching as well. And Coach Mark, I know that he's along those same lines, is just loves helping others, helping other coaches. And a lot of you, those of you that have been following us for a while, can hopefully see that we are here to help you as much as we can as coaches, because there's a lot of ups and downs in coaching, and we're here to make that ride smoother for you. And today's topic, as we move forward here, is coaching points: when, why, and when not to. Okay, so Mark's going to cover this topic, and we'll move forward. Mark, are you ready to roll?
Just about ready to go, yeah. So thank you, everyone, for joining us again. I just wanted to kind of, based off what we were discussing the last week with regards to the practical side of planning, I made a couple of points that I think I wanted to just kind of open out a little bit more. So we're just going to unpack some of that more of that information. I was mentioning about knee-jerk reactions in the instance of actually planning the session. But I think that runs a little bit deeper. So I'm going to just discuss a little bit more about that as in our delivery of coaching points. Again, as Eric's just mentioned, when, why, and when not to.
Hey, Mark, if you
Sometimes
wouldn't mind just introducing yourself again. I know we did it last
of
session, but
course,
we got some new
of
coaches
course.
on.
Yeah. My name is Mark. I'm here from England. My coaching journey took me across to the States. I've coached here in the UK and abroad. And again, as a keen player growing up, I played more for the enjoyment. Really, I absolutely loved playing soccer, and we were just. In the UK, it's so convenient that when we were younger, we could go and you could just make a pickup game by yourselves, just for fun. So most of my evenings were spent out playing soccer. I became a real obsessive with the technical side of things. So for me, that kind of was born into some of the route that's taken me on various coaching courses across the States and in the UK. I mean, even just on my bedside table here, I'm still reading some coaching books. This one's on Pep Guardiola. So a real obsessive on the tactical side of things as well. So and anything that I can pass on, because I know that from my own experience was observing others, and a great coach is also a great thief, in the sense that if you see another session and it looks really good, go speak to the coach, pick up some ideas, pick up tips. You don't have to copy it like for like, because that wouldn't suit what you're doing. So just take little pieces from here and there and apply it to your own coaching mantra. And really what we're trying to do with this is just give you as much exposure to as many different coaching styles as we possibly can, just to allow you to apply it to your own stuff. So yeah, we're as approachable as we can be. We love your questions. We love answering the questions. So feel free to post them if you want to email us. Again, we try to respond to everybody we can by email or through the Facebook pages, Instagram as well. So we're here to help. So I'll dive right into the topic.
Welcome, Coach Jason from St. Louis, Missouri.
Going on, Jason?
Got some shout outs here.
Yeah, yep. Under 10, I can see that my screen's going. Hold on.
Yeah, he coaches U10 girls team. The thing I most have difficulty with is how to keep them spread out on the field. They want to play hard.
Yeah, that is a super tricky one. Jason, is it a pure U10 team, or are you a combined U9, U10? I will get back to you on that one, but it would be good to know if you're a pure U10 team, or so that's kind of under 10, where the cutoff is 9, or if you have the U8s to U10s, because I know that some teams especially don't necessarily have the luxury of enough players to do just a pure U10 team. So it'd be interesting to know that, and then I'll respond to that ever so shortly. Just to jump into the topic, because I know I go off topic a lot of times when I'm talking about stuff. I'll just revert back to the coaching points, the when, the why, and the when not to. So I think as coaches, we might only get 2 sessions per week, maybe even 1 session per week. So that is our time to get the points across to players. And I feel like sometimes, I know I've experienced it myself, and I know it's not a problem that's specific to just me, is overcoaching sometimes, because you only get a short amount of time with your players. It's preparing them for the game day, because we know that as coaches, as soon as they cross that white line onto the pitch, they can't necessarily hear the instruction other than a few directional pointers, positional corrections. The coaching is finished, the fine tuning is finished, it's game time, so they're just gonna play the game. So as a coach, we can try and get our points across in practice, but actually translating that to the game is very difficult. So what we're trying to do is cram a lot into a short space of time. So delivering the coaching points, we need to just make sure that we're not trying to remote control players from the side of the pitch. We're getting as much points across as we can, but also that the points are well made and well timed. So when, and that is going to be specific to your individual circumstance. But a couple of things that I would like you to consider when considering when to deliver the coaching points. Firstly, is this a repeated problem? Are you seeing this time and again? If that is the case, then that might be a good time to jump in and make those corrections. Now, further to the repeated problem, is it a collective problem, or is it fine tuning on an individual basis? Is it somebody not receiving the ball on the back foot, for example? And how the session is flowing generally at that point. So there's some things to consider, and that's going to form how you deliver the coaching point from there. So it might be as simple as, if it is a collective repeated problem, you're going to jump in, you're going to stop the session, you're going to provide some feedback, and then you're going to let the players go ahead and do it. One thing that I would say on that is it's important to let that sink in. So it's not going to go right first time once you've jumped in and made that coaching point. So it would be unnecessary to jump in again and deliver the same point. Now, is it a collective problem? If it was reserved to an individual, I would move away from stopping a session entirely for that reason. You might just want to be, as you're walking around your session, just a quick tap on the shoulder, deliver the coaching point quickly to one player, and allow the session to continue flowing, because that obviously moves into that. Is the session flowing well? If the session is flowing well, you want as minimal interruptions to that as you possibly can. So just pull players here and there to deliver quick, sharp coaching points and let them get playing again. And again, I won't go too much into this now, but the length of the coaching points is going to be determined by the age that you are actually coaching. For the younger the players are, the less the attention span, quicker we need the coaching points to be, and just get them out playing again.
Coach Jason said combined U9 and 10.
U9, U10. Okay, Jason, if you don't mind, I'm gonna just run on with this, and then I will just come to the question at the end with regards to spreading out, or a couple of quick ideas that we can look at just to help out. It is a really, really tricky one with that age group in particular, because everyone's still quite focused on the ball rather than the immediate surroundings. So we're still trying to fine tune the technical points on an individual basis, but we can start introducing some ideas that are going to make the field a little bit bigger, make them a bit more aware of their space and their surroundings. So I will pick that up at the end, Jason. So if you just don't mind bearing with me for a second. Jumping on to the why, I'm just going to, so coaching points, really, that's the vital input to help correct technique, or maybe just draw attention to something that players can learn from. That is your time to deliver those. So whether it's the movement of an individual player, correcting technique, or even just a tactic, the timing and the delivery of this is going to either make it more effective or less effective. And I've written down a little quote here from the book that I am reading at the moment. It stood out to me, and it was Gerard Piqué of Barcelona was talking about Pep Guardiola, and he said, "The coach makes us understand football. He doesn't just give orders, he also explains why, and that makes you a better player." And it was the delivery that was so simple that really stuck out to me. It isn't just telling players what to do, because whilst they might just repeat that, because they're not understanding why you're delivering that point or why that would improve something on the field, they're not going to be able to retain it quite as well to translate it to the field. And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do here. You can have players that practice perfectly and then turn up on the field, and the collective chaos that is the game can mean they just get overrun with other things and forget the basics that you've been working on. So telling them why, explaining why, and showing them why can actually just help really cement those coaching points there. And just to
coaches that joined us here, we got Coach Dwayne on, and we got Coach Nasser on as well. Guys? Coach Dwayne is from Grenada,
and awesome. Grenada. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
And just talk back in there, I've got a personal belief here, and again, you may disagree with me entirely, but I believe that it is better for a player to lose possession of the ball being overconfident than it is for a player to lose the ball through a mistake because they were scared of making that mistake. So sometimes we see it where players can just get a little bit emotionally involved and they can forget to do the basics right. And we forget about getting our head down, taking a breath and playing the game. We just pass the ball so that we're not the one responsible for losing possession. So that applies widely to the game. I would rather players are confident to express themselves, and it's important that we create a safe learning environment to do so, to express yourself, to try the things, have them go wrong 1,000 times, just so that we can correct it ourselves. So if a player, a key example of this, if a player can tell me why they played the pass that they did that didn't actually reach its destination, if they can tell me why, regardless of the success of the pass, I'm happy just knowing that they had a plan in mind. So it might be that I saw it open up and there was space on the far side, and I thought I could make the pass. That's fine. It was logical. It made sense. We just didn't actually apply the correct technique at the time, and we mislaid the pass, and that happens. That's okay. It's important that we create that safe environment for players to try it, express themselves, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It doesn't happen every time at the professional level either. So it's important that we just encourage players to be feel safe to express themselves. And I've also noted here that, and it's another excerpt from the book I'm reading actually, and Pep was talking, and again, very, very simple here. And this is on individual feedback. So it says that whilst all your players are equal, that doesn't mean that they should be treated in the same way. And what he meant by that was, on a professional level, some players actually years ago didn't necessarily have to go out and warm up at the same time as everyone else because they were the star and they could skip the furore of all the fans and just hang back for a bit. So that was his definition of that. My interpretation of that is, how can we tailor our feedback to the players that we've got? So you might get some players that are hypercritical of themselves, and every group is going to have one player that of all the ones that I'll explain now, players who are hypercritical of themselves and very aware of their own if they've misplaced a pass or they've done something wrong, they are their own worst critic. And for those players, you might not necessarily need to jump in at that particular point. And that moves us on to the when not to. So I'm going to kind of link the next two answers as I go here. So if you've got a player who's hypercritical of their own performance, I would let them get it wrong a few times to see if they can correct it internally, if they can learn intrinsically, and they can actually apply what they need, because they'll probably be aware before you've pointed it out that things aren't going quite as right as they would like it to be. So that would be the first one I would look for there. Also, other things some players would look for. Some players would look for the feedback. You've got your Cristiano Ronaldo's, for example, who are just obsessive learners who. And whilst I am trying to apply this to youth soccer here, you are still going to have some players who actually actively want to better themselves. How could I do this better? They're the ones staying late at training. They're the ones who are getting the touches in, even when you're just taking a drinks break. How can you push those players on? So it might be that they're looking for the feedback. And feedback is, again, constructive feedback so they can absorb and learn. And I've got a little bit on delivery of feedback here. So it's what's known as the sandwich effect. So it is positive feedback, then constructive feedback, and then encouragement. So what you're actually doing is you're sectioning, you're giving the players some, okay, so I'll give you a practical example. All right, so Eric, I love the way you opened your body up to receive that pass there. That was really, really good. Next time, try and receive it on your back foot. Next time you do that, you'll be able to move the ball quicker, and you're going to be able to you'll be in a really strong position to make something happen. So if we just break that down, what I've done there was jump in with a quick compliment to Eric about him actually opening his body up to receive the ball. He was able to see the field. What I want him to do is what I want you to do, Eric, is receive the ball on your back foot. So that is my constructive feedback to you. But if I just stop the session and say, Eric, that needs to be on your back foot. Why? At that point, your head might drop. It's a knock to your confidence, and I've not really explained why I want you to do that. And also, I've done it in front of everybody, so that's going to have a little knock on your confidence. Whereas, what I actually did was say, "Great work opening your body up there." Okay, so suddenly everybody's seeing that you're getting a little bit of positive feedback for doing what you've done. So that's good. You're feeling good. I'm going to provide you with some constructive feedback at that point. Now try and receive it on your back foot, because that is going to allow you to open the field up with your first touch. And then you're going to be in a really strong position to make something happen from there. You're going to be looking at where you want to go. The ball is still protected because a touch on the back foot on the half turn means that if you are under pressure, you can turn out and you can start again. But it's just a way of delivering the feedback that's not quite so abrupt. It keeps the players really engaged, and it is a proven method. It's not just for sports. The sandwich effect is widely accepted, widely encouraged as a way of providing feedback there. So positive reinforcement.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Coach Mark. I really feel that is hugely important for us as coaches and role models to our players, because a lot of us think, no, we're there to instruct. And I'm just thinking too of some of the players that I've trained more individually and like in smaller groups, when they share some feedback from their team practices or even the games. And it's amazing how many of them were they were afraid to do things that I knew they could do in our sessions, like no problem. They could do things in the session that they just were too scared to do in the games because they felt they were going to get yelled at or screamed at and make a mistake. And a lot of that had to do with exactly what you're talking about how to come across complimenting first, and then like what they did right, and then going into how to adjust and correct or tweak something to correct it later after that. So I think it's a big thing with kids, especially with knowing that, stopping ourselves, knowing that we're role models, that they're looking up to us, and we might not think that how much we're affecting and in how our players are thinking as coaches as much. I mean, not all coaches, obviously, but just thinking more through that before we talk to our players, especially in a group setting, because their peers are important to them and what their peers think about them and what's said in groups. So no, I think I'm really glad you brought that up. I feel that's a big issue with kids. Confidence.
Definitely. And it's and you touched on the role model part there. You'd be very, very surprised at how much these young players are looking up to coach or anyone or parents. So it's just important that and you will get players who are just, they're so, you know, you could set up a session, they'll be as close by to you as possible to make sure that you're seeing what they're doing, and you can provide them with that little encouragement that they need. Well done, Eric, or whatever it'll be, you know, just if you've performed what you want, and even if it is just a case of stopping a session to deliver a point where you say, right, okay, so Robert's done something excellent here, can you show everyone else? And suddenly when their peers, they're being acknowledged by their peers for doing something great, that's further cementing it. And also when players are watching one of their teammates do something, they somehow that seems more achievable, so you want to copy that, and you want to do just as they're doing and get that same positive reinforcement from coach and parents.
100%. Excellent. Yeah, I do feel that a lot of kids aren't getting enough encouragement, enough positive reinforcement. Once they're doing something right, the coach still, I mean, not all the time, but it just the balance of balancing what they're doing right and then what they need to adjust to get better, and not just, oh, they got that, but not telling them, but thinking and knowing they need to move on to the next step, but not letting them know, hey, great job. You got that down. I'm really proud of you for getting that. Now here's that next step of completing this. And what I want to teach you here. Here's that next step, and going to the next step, but acknowledging first what they're doing right. This is so important in a confidence.
Right. So I think we're going to, I'm going to kind of save me from rambling anymore. We'll kind of wrap that one up, but I can see some questions popping in here. There's a couple that I can see that might need, that I can perhaps pick up. Dwayne, that looks, I really want to get into that question with you. So perhaps pick that one up right at the end. Maybe I'll reply to that one in the comments, because there's quite a lot that we can unpack from that question. Great. I've lost the...
Yeah, we got Coach Maria from Greece on. Hi, Coach Maria.
Thanks for joining us. And I'm losing my comments here. Where's it going?
Coach Kenny's on. We got Coach Robert. We got Coach Arturs. I hope I'm saying that right.
Arturs from Latvia. Was that right? Have I got that?
Yes.
It all disappeared on me.
Yes, from Latvia. Mm-hmm. Yep. A couple of the questions, I know that it's probably not something you could touch on during our training today, but there are some questions that are popping in that we'll definitely look through even after they're going to stay on the comments feed. And
Jason, with
these
the
lives will be.
Sorry, Eric, I was just there with Jason's
Go
comment before. I was just going to touch on work on the spacing out. So during games, it is notoriously difficult, especially under 10s. That is kind of the last year where they're going to be aware of the fact that there is more to the field than just the ball. So the pack will start to spread out as players get a little bit more aware of tactics, and it does become a big shock to the system when the field gets bigger as well, and you have to make the ball do some of the work. So one that I particularly like, just for the idea of spreading out, because I've seen coaches who grid the field and stick players in certain areas. I think it's good as a guideline, but I don't actually think that when it comes to a game, you have to find the balance between the rigidity of structure of formation and just the fluidity of what you would want to see in the actual game. For example, one of these coaches who did the grid, I think they kept it very simple. They just did a line down the middle of the field, and they had left-sided players, right-sided players, and they just tried to keep it a little bit separate. However, there was a situation where the opposition broke away, and the only player back was a left-sided defender, and the players ran down the right, and this player was stuck in this half space thinking, I can't go over that line, but if I can't go over the line, that's a free run at goal. So I move away from that if I possibly can. So what I tend to do generally is just try and so the focus is the soccer ball. So let's think about that. The players look at the soccer ball and they want to be the one to have the soccer ball kick in the goal, right? That's where we're at. That is the basics of it. You get the ball, you score at the other end. So what if you threw a second ball into the practice? If you've got this big bunching together of all the players down one end, the ball's going nowhere, and you as a coach, you shout at the top of your voice, another ball in, you throw the ball in, and you wait. You don't throw it near the pack, you put it down somewhere else. And suddenly you'll get a player who has heard you shout, has a quick scan around, sees the ball down the other end, and they run. And then one or two will go with it. They'll think, well, actually, there's a ball down there. I need to either stop them scoring or support my teammate in scoring. So that pack has been broken up, and suddenly those players were rewarded for looking up and using their head. And then, again, if the pack actually starts to bunch together again, the ball goes in. And it could be to the point where I just walk around the outside with the ball in my hand, and every now and again, I don't even say it anymore. I just throw the ball into the field. And I'm not going to over what it is. I'm not talking about 3, 4, 5 balls here. I'm talking maybe 2 at any one time. So it just keeps the players, again, they're incentivized to look up. They're rewarded for looking up and looking around, because in that group of 10 players that you've got, that big ruck that's moving slowly towards the goal, you can't actually influence anything if you don't have the ball. You're perhaps even stopping your teammate from running towards the goal. You can't do anything to interfere with the defenders because you don't have the ball. So just one simple idea to keep it going. And again, it just moves away from the structure of having lines and grids and everything else. So hopefully that helps out a little bit, Jason.
Yep. We got some more questions popping in as well, Mark, but we'll take a look at those and definitely make note and get back to you coaches either in the next live or through a message. And I am going to put go ahead.
Sorry, Eric. I'm just I'm into it now. There's Robert. You'd be surprised. There's the basketball, soccer similarities with regards to the attack, the defense, the triangles, the patterns. And sorry if I'm butchering all the terms here, Robert. I know there's probably something entirely different for basketball, but I know obviously the idea of the defending, positions, spacing, that's all quite fluid in attack, but also quite rigid in defense. So there's a lot of similarities, a lot of crossovers. Is actually, whilst one is played with hands, one is played with feet. I am with you on that one. There's so much crossover between tactics, definitely.
Yeah, and we appreciate you joining us, even though we're
and
on
thanks
the
for the
topic of
feedback,
soccer,
Jason.
Soccer or football.
Yeah,
You're
right.
watching,
Well,
coaching
everyone's
basketball, so it's
welcome.
great.
And
Yep.
Jason, let us know how you get on with that, Jason, actually, and anyone else who tries it, because it is it's a ton of fun, and it really is a good way to just get their head up. There's a couple of big questions, Artur. That's again a lot of unpacking to do there. So I want to jump in the comments with you on that one, if that's okay. I'm going to spend a little bit of time in the comments section with you guys.
The whining question?
With well, obviously for with the winning syndrome and stopping players. There's a little bit about psychology there.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll dive right into that in the comments.
Great.
So yeah, I'll be in there for another 15-20 minutes or so. But I guess we keep into our time frames, Eric. We best better round up, because I'm going to be here all night chatting.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I told you get fired up. I told you everybody that gets fired up when we get some questions in, gets rolling. So yeah, there's more. We're gonna unravel some things as we come into the next couple live videos on how to get more of Coach Mark's time and more resources. But these lives are we welcome everybody to join us. We appreciate you coming on live. And again, these will be recorded for a period of time and on the Coaches Training Room Facebook page. Make sure you join us on all different social media accounts, though, because we do post different resources on all the different platforms. Like we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So make sure you're following us on all the different pages there. And again, I'm going to post a link here just because we do, I want to keep the time frame from tight, but continue to post your questions in the comments, and we will see those in there. Even if you're not watching us here live, we will see those comments and get to them in the future. And I posted a link to our resources page on coachestrainingroom.com. So basically you'll find a lot more there as far as sessions and just some of what we're going on here in the video. You can dig into a little deeper and find some articles and sessions in regards to the topics that we're talking about here. So if you're looking for specific attacking sessions or how to handle parents on the sidelines, we got some articles and resources there. So again, that link is coachestrainingroom.com/resources. So you can go there. I put it in the comments. We appreciate your time. And again, my name's Coach Eric. Coach Mark is in England. Thanks so much, Coach Mark. And again, post the comments. Post the comments, and if you're lucky, you'll get Coach Mark replying back. And or we'll be answering in a follow-up video. But we're pumped that you're here, and we appreciate providing some value. And we got some awesome things coming up in the next few videos. So thanks for joining live. Put in your calendar for the next one. Every Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be on here live. We'll talk to you again soon, coaches. Take care.